All right, why do I support whole foods, but I don't support raw milk? And I think that's a great question, and it's a question worth asking, and it's one that I want to give detailed answers to. The answer is because, quite simply, I'm not telling people to eat completely unprocessed foods, okay? I don't do the appeal to nature. When I talk about minimally processed, I mean minimally processed or only going through beneficial processes, okay? Heat and certain filtrations and things can absolutely be beneficial to certain foods. Should most of our food be in a largely minimally processed state? Yes, absolutely. But cooking is a process. And people say, but it doesn't change the molecules. Yes, it does. Cooking foods absolutely changes them at a molecular level, right? It can just as much as chemical processes do. Okay, it absolutely can. And in many cases, it enhances the quality of food, sterilizes them, can actually improve nutrient bioavailability, all sorts of stuff. Okay, so we need to be clear on that. And pasteurization, pretty similar really to just boiling your milk. Okay, but this is understood that this is beneficial. Kills bacteria. Before people say, well, it's not that common, only a handful of people die every year from raw milk in the U.S. Well, yeah, because 99.99% of people don't drink it. Not even close to 1% of the population is drinking raw milk, and very few children drink it. The child death rate was extremely high from raw milk when pasteurization was invented and came out. So we need to be clear on that. It is a life-saving idea. So recently we Pasteur won Nobel Prizes and stuff for that. Like it's a big deal, guys. It's really a big deal. And people want to pretend it's not. I've made statements on this. I've had even someone say, like on Facebook, "Yep, I made the mistake drinking the raw milk and ended up in the emergency room." Okay, it absolutely happens. It's a real problem. And the problem is that the health benefits have never really been found. So people talk about certain things like they'll say, well, lactose intolerance, but there's no actual evidence. This has been studied. As far as the enzymic pathways go, if you're lactose intolerant, you're going to be just as lactose intolerant to raw milk. So if you're having a problem with pasteurized milk and raw milk is okay, there's something different going on. And it can be nocebo, it can be placebo, things like that. Same thing with allergies. Like people, well, I've heard of these people that cured their milk allergy. No, it can't. There's no pathway by which it can do that. All right, let me be clear on that. You don't have an allergy if that's what happened, because that's not how allergies work. Okay? We also need to be clear on that. That's not how allergies work. And in fact, even some of the researchers have pointed out studies that have been used to kind of show that that's not really what they suggested. They've been misread. And the larger studies and meta-analysis have largely found these benefits don't appear to be there. But as far as the allergy end goes, there was definitely a study done on children who had a diagnosed, not a suspected. Okay, that's the problem. People are like, well, I think I had a milk allergy. Was that diagnosed with an allergy test? Well, no. Okay, so you may not have had a milk allergy. Because when this only study was done on children who had a diagnosed milk allergy and they were compared with pasteurized milk versus raw milk, all of them had an allergic reaction. They all had a pretty significant, serious allergic reaction to the raw milk. Not some of them, the whole test group, all of them had the allergic reaction. Why? Because they had a real milk allergy, an actual diagnosed one that was medically diagnosed with a test. Okay, I've had allergy testing, by the way. I've been through the full panel a couple times as a kid. Like I know where my allergies are because I've had an actual allergy panel, the whole thing, the old school test. So I know what all my allergies are. Okay? Unless you have had an actual test for it by your doctor, which there's a procedure for this, you don't know that you have a milk allergy. And if we go off the data that we have, if you have a milk allergy, well, in the studies, there's a 100% chance you're going to have an allergic reaction. Now, there's another problem when someone says that. I guarantee you don't have a milk allergy or you wouldn't be drinking milk. Because it's when you have food allergies, it's not an occasional, oh, I have a minor outbreak or some acne or a minor autoimmune little minor thing every third time I eat it. No, if you actually really have the allergy, you're going to have a reaction every time you eat it, which is why in the actual study done on these kids, all of the kids had a reaction. Every single one of them to the very first exposure to the raw milk. One exposure, bam, serious allergic reaction. Why? Because that's how food allergies work. They're not well, sometimes. No, you don't have a real allergy then. You might be allergic to some pollen and it just happened to correlate that one time to when you drink milk or something else. You don't have an allergy to it. I'm sorry. Speaking as someone with a food allergy, and I'm not going to go into what it is, I have 100% emergency room rate every time I've consumed that food, including an accident. Okay? Not sometimes, every time I have eaten a tiny amount of that food, I'm talking an amount that will fit on your pinky finger, I had to have a tube stuck down my throat and be shot full of epinephrine. That's how food allergies work. Every time, without fail. So, you see where we're going with this? So based on the research we have, if you drank the raw milk and you didn't have an allergic reaction, you don't have a milk allergy. So this is nonsense, guys. This is complete nonsense. All right? And if it was real, I would be like, hey, great. But it's risk with no reward. There's no reward to it. And it's ridiculous. And your doctors and the health experts will tell you the same thing. All right? And people don't want to hear that because they buy into their ideas. And like I said, this is one of those that I wish I could get behind it. Guys, I mean, I would love to be able to support, oh yeah, let's eat some less processed foods. But with things like dairy actually, a lot of dairies do really well with certain processing. I mean, think about the fact that cheese and yogurt have great health benefits. Those are processed. That's a process. And in that case, it has very clear benefits. Turning milk into Greek yogurt has health benefits. Cooking broccoli has health benefits, right? So we need to have a little bit more nuance instead of just all processing bad or, and so on. We're really looking at a lot of these ultra processed foods that we need to be concerned about, right? Excessively processed, high temperature chemically treated vegetable oils or table sugar, refined sugars, like this stuff, guys, this ultra processed garbage. That's what we're concerned with. But we don't need to go so far to the other extreme that, we're only going to eat stuff as we can find it in nature untouched. No, that's not necessarily true. You got to have a little common sense with it, guys. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.